Today is Monday, the 21st November 2022, and it's a pleasant good morning and a warm welcome to your program Good Morning Sagalium. This is a program that always starts your day. I am Sheku Smiler. Our quote of the day is from an unknown source, and it says, "Home is where you trust the toilet seat." I go over these words was once again by from an unknown source, and it says, "Home is where you trust the toilet seats." Coming up in this edition of the program Good Morning Sierra Leone joins other countries to observe World Toilet Day. We shall be looking at the significance of this in particular day. SCADEP hands over 4 feeder road projects to communities in Moyamba and Bo districts through the Ministry of Agriculture, and we shall be bringing you updates from the regions. All of these are more lined up in this edition of our program Good Morning Sierra Leone. And you can also be part of this program by sending your text to the number you're seeing on your screen. And you can also follow us on our Facebook page, SWC Channel 31. This is Good Morning Sierra Leone, live from our broadcasting house, New Englandville in Freetown, where we take our first item in this edition of the program Good Morning Sierra Leone. Every year on the 19th of November is observed as World Toilet Day, a day set aside and to inspire actions to tackle the global sanitization crisis, of which millions of people practice open defecation. It is in this light that the Urban Research Center, through the Overdue Global Research Fund and partners, organize a bus tour across Freetown to raise awareness on this issue. Well, in the studios to talk more on this is Mohammed Bari, and he is a strategic manager in town. Good morning, Mohammed, and welcome to the program.
Good morning, sir.
Now, World Toilet Day, all of us know that for the past couple of years, if not decade or more than that, authorities have been trying to kind of address the issue of open defecation. All of us know the sanitation challenges open defecation poses. Now, on this day, and you heard of this bus tour moving around communities, trying to engage people on the need for them to practice safe defecation. Now, tell us exactly what you wanted to achieve from that campaign that you embarked on a few days ago.
Yeah, I want to achieve by 2030, right? Everybody in Sierra Leone or around the world, everybody at that time have safe toilets. Because for now, the groundwater is not protected, and we need solution to that. For the groundwater to be protected, we need to have a proper toilet, and the hygiene need to be proper. Okay, we visited on Saturday. We visited some communities like the Belia community, Congo Market, and other communities. And the issues that we have in Belia community, there is no toilet. There is no toilet facility, and the only facility that they have is out of Belia community, and also that is challenging for them. Okay, although there are some challenges in Belia, but if there is no toilet, that is a big problem, and it's also alarming. And people prepare food around that community, and even though we see some needs that there are supposed to be food in that community, but without toilet, if you think about the hygiene in that community, is so poor, and without toilet or without a good hygienic area or environment, there is a problem. You can inherit disease from that particular area, and also again the infected people who defecate in the particular section or in the corners, that's been a problem, especially at that time or at that point in time. You can see flies around, and also people are sitting that they are also eating there without any caution. These people are not thinking about their health, but there is a need for us to think about that and to raise awareness for everybody to know that you have to think about your own health. You should not wait for city council to come and arrest those people. You need to lay their complaint or to pass information to the appropriate authorities who are responsible for that. Or you call city council and there is a fine for those particular issues. But the response for that is so slow. Some of their how I can say their response was that some of them have made so many complaints, but till now there is a problem.
Now there is a problem, and this problem is not new. It has been a perennial problem. Now, how do you think, as a nation, we can address opuntification? You go to the provinces, you go to the regions, you see that a lot of people practice opuntification. You go by the seaside, and all of us know that when you send something into the seas, things that are not proper, you are polluting the sea, and what happens is that in return, that sea is going to respond, and it affects communities along the coast. So how do you think we can, as a nation, solve this particular problem? Yes, it is happening in Freetown, especially in the slum communities, but you go also, you go to the provinces, these are things that are still happening, and there are times, it poses health challenges. In fact, not at times, most of the times, so how do you think we can address this?
Well, we have to capture the mind of the people. So we have to raise awareness, because just to say we can build toilet, this is not the solution. But to capture the mind of the people, you have to tell us that in this point in time, if we do not handle this at this point in time, there will be a problem and we will not achieve in anything before 2030. So for now, we have to go around and explain this to the people and try again how to put things in place, and advise them also to talk to the government to help the people with public toilets. In that area, there is public toilet, but it's so costly. What about if the person have a warning stool at that particular time? You have to pay 2,000 leones anytime you go there. So think about that. If you went there 5 times, it's 10,000 leones. Might be the business you are doing now is not up to 100,000 profit per day.
But the thing is that, Mohammed, after this campaign, you've started in Freetown. Do you have any intention to kind of decentralize it? Because like I mentioned earlier, this opuntification stuff is not only affecting, Freetown. It is affecting almost every region, every district, every kingdom in this country. So do you intend decentralizing this campaign?
Yeah, indeed. We have that in mind. But for this year, we just base it in Freetown. But in the coming years, we'll extend it to the rural community.
All right, and thank you so much. I'll continue to stay with us. And here is Mohammed Bari, a campaigner against opuntification, as the 19th of every November is World Opuntification Day. This is a campaign against opuntification across the globe. Well, it is absolutely necessary for us to know what happened yesterday so that we can protect the present and also secure the future. So it's now time for us to bring you this day in history.
This day in history, November 21st. On this day in 1620, the Mayflower Compact was signed. The Mayflower Compact was the first governing document of Plymouth Colony. The Mayflower Compact was written by passengers of the Mayflower and was signed by 41 of the ship's 101 passengers. On this day in 1789, North Carolina ratified the United States Constitution and became the 12th state in the United States. North Carolina was named after King Charles I of England, who originally founded the colony. The name Carolina comes from Carolus, which means Charles in Latin. On this day in 1877, the invention of the first phonograph was announced. The first phonograph was invented and was announced by Thomas Edison. The first phonograph was announced as a device for recording and replaying sound. Thanks for watching This Day in History.
I'm back, and the program you're still watching is Good Morning Sierra Leone, live on the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. I hope you learned a lot from those items on this day in history, because we need to know what happened yesterday so that we can protect the present and also secure the future. This is Good Morning Sierra Leone, coming to you live from a broadcasting house, the Englandville in Freetown. Well, as we have heard in the news, the Minister of Works has expressed that for sustainable development in agriculture, there is a need for investment in road infrastructure to link farms with potential markets. Peter Bayuku Conte went on that government is working with development partners to achieve this. He made this statement during the launch of handing over of 4 feeder road projects to communities in Moyamba and Bolu district by SCADEP through the Ministry of Agriculture. Well, in the studios to talk more on this is Abraham Samura, who is the communications expert and for the SCADEP project. Good morning, Mr. Samura, and welcome to the program.
Good morning, and thank you for having me here.
Now, for goods to access or produce to access the market, you must have good roads, especially feeder roads, because most of these markets are linked to feeder roads, or feeder roads are linked to the market. And just a few days ago, we saw this person from the Minister of Works and handing over projects to communities in Moyamba and Bo districts. Now tell us, how would this help address some of the food insecurity issues we are faced with by acceleration?
Thank you very much for that brilliant question. Well, as you know, the rehabilitation and maintenance of feeder roads falls under component 2 of the SCADEP project development objectives, which is market access improvement. And I think the significance of feeder roads cannot be overemphasized. And for me, I believe that without roads in general, and feeder roads in particular, you cannot talk of development. And in the case of food security and food self-sustainability, of course, you get it right when you are able to link the farms to the market. And that is a challenge that has been perennial in Sierra Leone, for a very long time. And if farmers cannot access markets to get their produce, then in a very huge way, it not only affects their own livelihoods as individuals, but it also affects the national economy, because whatever they get to the market is to sell, and whatever they sell trickles down to the average consumer. So you find out that if you cannot get those goods to the market, it perishes. We have a lot of perishable agricultural commodities from all over the country, and that has been a challenge. And that was the reason why the SCADEP project came into existence. We started in 2017, sorry, and then we have been doing that up to this time. But to answer your question, without feeder roads, there is no development, because we don't only look at the productivity, agricultural productivity per se. It also has a ripple effect on other areas of development. You talk about security, you talk about education, you talk about health, But for us, our focus is to create agricultural productivity by enhancing access to market by the farmers. And to this extent, since we started, we have rehabilitated over 300 kilometers of feeder roads. We started with about 163 kilometers under the gap roads, and we've also done about 143, under which these roads that we are recently handed over by SCADEP and the Ministry of Works to the contractors for. And these roads that we handed over recently were roads that were actually to have been completed, but were not completed. So the contracts were terminated and re-advertised, and then we are now handing them over to new contractors.
Okay, now, Mr. Samuel, let us talk about, the agricultural value chain does not only stop at having feeder roads. It also has to do with, preservation. Like, for example, for perishable goods, or produce, as the case may be. Now, let us talk about this value addition stuff. Let us know, what are the plans, or what have you been doing, since the project started in 2017 to ensure that this value chain, this agricultural value chain, is actually enhanced?
Thank you very much for that question too. Well, that falls squarely under component one of our project development objective, which is access to finance for farmers. For SCADEP as a project, our focus is to give money to farmers so that they will be able to undertake productive farming. And that is where value addition, which you have mentioned, comes in. And under this component, we have two funding windows. We have the Sierra Leone Agribusiness Development Fund, which is a bigger purse for big agribusinesses. You may have been hearing about Mountain Lion. You may have been hearing about Family Poultry. You may have been hearing about Capital, whose capacity we have improved so much now that now we are now producing cocoa liquor in Sierra Leone. And just 2 weeks ago, we are made to also understand that they are now producing cocoa in Sierra Leone. Both the cocoa spread, which is something like butter, and the cocoa powder, which is like the Ovaltine or Tama cocoa that comes from Ghana that we've been hearing for so long. So that is for this life. We also have the agribusiness services matching grant, which targets SMEs, along the 5 value chain that you should know that we are laser focused on 5 value chains for us as a project. We know there are many other value chains which other projects within the ministry are focusing on, but for us we are focusing on rice, we are focusing on cocoa, which is a cash crop, we are focusing on oil palm, which is a tea crop, we are also focusing on onions and poultry. And from inception to now, I think the SCADEP has done a lot in terms of bringing those SMEs into levels where they can now become companies or big agribusinesses. And for the big agribusinesses, through the outgrow model scheme, which is a model for me that is a niche in Sierra Leone, we have been able to reach over 40,000, I think over 200,000 farmers around the country, because that model, the money is given to the big agribusinesses to work with those smallholder farmers, so that those smallholder farmers will also supply those big agribusinesses to feed their value addition, which you are talking about. And under the ASMG, the Agribusiness Services Matching Grant, to foster the value addition, we build a processing center for them, drying floors, wash facilities, and we also equip those processing centers with machines for those rice producing organizations. We give them threshers, and the stoners and things like that. And for the oil palm producers, of course, we give them palm oil crushers. And to a very large extent, we are seeing very magnificent and outputs in terms of what we have done as a project in intervening in those areas. So in terms of value addition, yes, we are getting there gradually.
Okay, now let's talk about these rules, these feeder rules you're handing over to communities. Let us talk about the structural, integrity of these rules. Because, for example, now, the rules might be constructed or rehabilitated during the dry season, and during the rainy season, you see it, losing its structural integrity. And here we're talking about value for money. So what is the assurance that these rules do have the structural integrity that is required?
Yeah, before I come down, let me just state that these roads that we are handed over quite recently by both the SCADEP, the Ministry of Works, represented by the Minister of Works and the SLRA, and also the Deputy Chair of the Committee on Agriculture in Parliament, who are there jointly in the field. And of course, these roads are based in Moyamba and Bo, but the other roads are also based in other parts of the country, about 8 districts in the country. And so we have about 2 roads in the Moyamba district, which are from Kobahun and Nyangoihun and Kawela to Tobu. I think there is a 3rd one also from Mogwema to Gondama. And in Bo, there is a place, it's a sport improvement. The agribusiness services matching grants that I told you about, we have supported some women there that are called the Sanda women, whose capacity has grown so much that they now need a bridge to link them because they are having that challenge. So the sport improvement is for us to construct a 6-meter span bridge there, for them, so that it will link them with the rest of the Botown community. And there is also one at Serabo, which is the Cecilia Kaikai Makabo. We are building an 8-span meter bridge for them to also link them. Those are also in the both of them are in the Bo district. But if you're talking about, let me come now to your question, structural integrity. I think SCADEP as a project, one thing that has helped us to stand out is the way we approach our rehabilitation process. First of all, the process is led by the Sierra Leone Roads Authority, because they are the competent authority when we talk about feeder roads. And we also have other stakeholders, that work with us concomitantly to see that whatever we do it in standards. And so that is why from design stage, everything is done within specifications that are required for those roads to last. And I want to assure you that for all the roads that we have done since the inception of SCADEP to now, if you go there, because there is always oversight from all the various stakeholders, from the Ministry of Agriculture to the Ministry of Works to the SLRA to the project itself, and from the Parliamentary Oversight Committee. They are always there in the field to assess what happens. So whenever there is a defect, either that project is terminated or the contractor is asked to do it according to the specifications. And the good thing is that for us as a project, what we normally do is to do public disclosure. And now, before the project commences,